basically he's having a taste of his own medicine now, and he realizes that it sucks. So here's the list.
He's super smart, doesn't believe in God, but now he believes in karma.
Glory, glory, glory. Religion is corrosive to science.
And now they're the real anti-science people. So he didn't get what he was going after. When he tore down Christianity, when he tore down Judeo-Christian values, he actually got more of what he was going against.
He's stupid. Richard Dawkins is stupid. Christopher Hitchens is stupid. These people are not smart. They're just cynical.
He's so smart. How do we defeat him?
Is science corrosive to religion?
When he was stripping away religion, he didn't make another meme to replace it with.
Other midwits feel intelligent through my scoffery. I view the whole new atheism movement as just the temper tantrum of spoiled Gen Xers. The original atheists will argue the philosophy of atheism, but the new atheists, betas. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Luke Hansen, editor-in-chief of Ward Radio News, as well as by Brittany the Shadow, most beautiful commentator on the internet. And we're going to be talking today about the news. I can't believe this, Luke, that apparently Richard Dawkins' Facebook page has been restricted. Irony of ironies, the inventor of the meme himself, the OG of anti-religion, has now had to eat a little bit of crow from the wokeism that he helped birth, and his Facebook page got censored. You're the news guy. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically right there, but apparently this was a couple days ago. This was early August. Okay. Richard Dawkins said, quote, "My entire Facebook account has been deleted, seemingly no reason given, because I tweeted that genetically male boxers such as," and I'm going to butcher this name, Emain Khalif.
Sure.
It is Khalif, isn't it? XY Undisputed should not fight women in the Olympics. Of course, my opinion is open to civilized argument, but outright censorship?
Oof.
So that's Richard Dawkins for you.
Okay, so why is this news? Why is this perking up a lot of people's ears, my man? People get censored all the time. Why is this unique? And do a lot of us kind of sit back and chuckle?
Well, number one is that, yes, censorship happens all the time, but we shouldn't get desensitized to it. It's still a big deal whenever censorship happens. Okay. And so despite the fact that it has happened many times, this still is not okay for something like this to happen. But number two is that something like this, something about Emain Khalif boxing in the Olympics against women, would never have happened if we were still a predominantly Judeo-Christian society. But one of the people, they actually called them the Four Horsemen, one of the Four Horsemen against religion being predominant in society.
During the new atheist movement.
Back in like 2004 to 10 was, I think, kind of its peak, was Richard Dawkins.
Okay.
And I actually, you can keep talking about this.
Okay.
But I think there's a clip that I pulled up from a previous video that we did a long time ago that might kind of give us a flavor of what Richard Dawkins was like back in the day.
Do you have that clip in the Discord by chance, my man? Oh, you're pulling up. Okay.
Yeah, getting there.
So if I would like to summarize this myself, Brittany, because I believe previous to this, you had not indeed heard of him, right?
No.
Yeah, because we did a couple of debunkings that you were not actually a participant in. But basically, the new atheist movement, which started, I would say, in the late 90s, but really started gaining steam in the early 2000s and was propagated almost wholly by the internet, was a bunch of these guys who basically made a living off of just scoffing at religion and saying you're stupid if you believe. And they made some decent inroads against the creeds on Christianity, but by and large, their net effect on society is definitely not been perceived as good. And they've pretty much been the ones that you would say would have corrupted the mind of the youth, for lack of a better term, with all of these kind of insinuations that, that's not real. It can't be because you're stupid if you believe. And unfortunately, they did it without too much scientific backing and just a lot of scoffery. And you just reminded me of something, Luke. When we read the last half of the back of the heretic script, the supposed and alleged heretic script, who were the people that they were quoting.
Yep. Yeah, let's read it off.
They were quoting all descriptions of religious texts, scriptures, artwork, and ceremonial rituals in the screenplay are accurate. The authors would like to acknowledge the following texts that formed the foundation of their religious and philosophical research. So these people that wanted to make an anti-religious screenplay said, "Oh no, this isn't anti-religious. This is real, okay, and this is accurate," as they say, because God is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens is quoted.
And he's one of the other four horsemen.
Yeah, he's
also with a British accent.
Also with
very
a British,
intelligent.
Yeah. Well, all the racists that didn't think that a civilized culture could not cross the ocean. There's no way that there are savages in the Americas. No, not at all. You know, they also had English accents too.
So these people are super smart, don't believe in God, correct?
Well, that's the funny thing about the heretic script that we talked about in our live stream, is that the bad guy in that movie, he like is quoting to them basically like some Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and the back of the script says that they read like 3 books from these guys. It's not like the writers were philosophers or anything like that read all this stuff. Well, and so after he gives them like a little 5-minute spiel about Richard Dawkins type of stuff, the sister missionaries are like, "Oh, he's so smart. How do we defeat him?" Yeah, defeat him. And that was the general thing. Like Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, not so much. They were definitely like what the 12-year-old boy would watch when YouTube started coming out, and would watch and be like, "Oh, now I'm like enlightened and like
a lot of my friends,
I'm edgy and I'm rejecting religion and I'm so like smart now that these religion things and get them out of."
So here's the list.
He's super smart, doesn't believe in God, but now he believes in karma.
Oh, yep, exactly. And it's karma because basically the new atheism movement that said all of Judeo-Christianity is just insanity and stupid and leads to violence, which was Jonathan Krakauer's insinuation.
And a lot Sam Harris as well.
Yeah, and a lot of Sam Harris's insinuation said that if you're religious, you're stupid, which also means you're prone to violence. And religion does harm, whether it's to its own people or to others. Look at the Twin Towers, but they didn't have the guts to criticize radical Islam, so they came after radical Christianity, okay, which is like...
Well, they did.
For 9/11?
A lot of the new atheists had the guts to criticize radical Islam, and I think that's that was kind of like the catharsis that made a lot of people hook onto them.
Okay, I'm trying to round. All right, I'm not trying to start 7 different rabbit holes.
I know.
I'm trying to round the circle here to say, yes, Christopher Hitchens was in the anti-Mormon script. Basically, they justify the misrepresentations of the faith by quoting Christopher Hitchens' "Going Clear" by Lawrence Wright, the Holy Bible, "No Man Knows My History" by Fawn Brody, "The Origin of Species," and then, of course, here it is, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. So does it surprise you that when you get rid of Judeo-Christianity by calling it delusional for believing in God, that the Judeo-Christian belief structure that has protected your speech, when that atrophies, well, guess what? The protections atrophy. And so now he's walking around the internet and he's walking around all of these TV shows saying, "Well, I definitely prefer to live in a Christian nation because, you know, in a Christian nation..."
I would much prefer living in a Christian nation rather than an Islamic nation, for example.
I'm culturally Christian. So he's trying to backtrack now that all of his, basically he's having a taste of his own medicine now. And he realizes that it sucks.
Let's pull up what he was like before. So in the Clerk at WardRadio Drive, you go to folders. These were some old clips that I pulled up, and this was from one of his famous TED Talks. I believe it was called Militant Atheism. Has a couple million views, and it essentially, and I think it was from like 2004. You'll see from the video quality, it was not within the last 15 years.
Did he lose in a boxing match?
No, I'm not sure what that reference is.
Salty about that. Since he went off.
So
if you go to folders,
Dawkins
Google Drive
notes?
is dumb. Yeah, folders.
Okay, awesome.
Then Richard Dawkins.
Got it.
And then I think number 3 will kind of give us
corrosive religion.
Yeah, the feel of what he was like 20 years ago.
Okay, here's corrosive religion. Richard Dawkins, go.
In my view, not only is science corrosive to religion, religion is corrosive to science.
Oh!
It teaches people...
It birthed science, pal. But here, let's let him say that one more time.
In my view, not only is science corrosive to religion, religion is corrosive to science. It teaches people to be satisfied with trivial, supernatural non-explanations and blinds them to the wonderful real explanations that we have within our grasp. It teaches them to accept authority, revelation, and faith instead of always insisting on evidence.
Oh, so does it surprise you, the guy that says, oh, well, no, there is no God and we weren't created in God's image and we don't have to be benevolent like him as image bearers. Those people are stupid if they believe. What you should believe instead is in power dynamics, in survival of the fittest, in evolution. Well, guess what, bro? When you're old and you're weak, is it now moral that you get clobbered? You know, well, now that you've eroded all the Judeo-Christian ethics, does it surprise you the big powerful company just came down and straight up censored you, and now you're crying like a baby to the principal because you didn't get picked in dodgeball? Like, well, what's going on, man?
I don't think he's crying like a baby.
British people don't cry.
No, but they do say, oh, of course, my opinion is open to civilized argument, but outright censorship, well, this is beyond the pale.
They only show affection to dogs.
Yeah, so
and
here's
horses.
the thing. 20 years ago, so before kind of wokeism came onto the scene, he was so distressed that maybe people would attribute the evolution of life to God rather than to evolutionary processes. And that's what he was worried about back then. And apparently he thought that taking away religion would take away these shackles of irrationality that were binding people down. But now today, he's not complaining about the religious people. Who is the anti-science person now? It's what he probably back then would have determined as to be non-religious people, but in fact they are quite religious, just a different kind that didn't quite exist back then. And now they're the real anti-science people. So he didn't get what he was going after. When he tore down Christianity, when he tore down Judeo-Christian values, he actually got more of what he was going against. And Cardin's actually pulled this up. I think you're going exactly the direction that I want to go, which is talking about memes. Because Richard Dawkins should have seen this coming. He should have applied his own lessons, because for all the complaints that we have about Richard Dawkins, he actually appears to be a fairly brilliant evolutionary biologist.
But no, I'm sorry, I got to push back on that.
You always push back on...
These people are not smart. They're scoffers. It takes intelligence.
They have a paper that says they're smart.
No, yes, that's all they have is a paper. Like, it actually
smart
takes...
and wise.
Okay,
smart
yes.
and wise.
There's a difference. Like, we have Plato said this well. He said, the mind is a fire to be kindled, not a vessel to be filled. These people think that just because they got one or two more sound bites in this vessel, they have not converted this into wisdom. Intelligence is just not scoffery. That's just cynicism. We have stolen so many words that now cynicism is misinterpreted as wisdom, and it is not better. It's just not. These people aren't like... Richard Dawkins is not smarter than me. He's just more of an annoying cynic who's better at socially imposing his cynicism on others and also ignoring social norms in a way that makes people who want to try and apply their Christianity to be kind to him and maybe corral him and bumper bowl him towards a more wholesome and better life. He's just a big enough of a prick. He can overcome the social norms. Like, he's not smarter. We're calling smartness something it's not.
I disagree. I think he's very intelligent, but intelligence is different than wisdom. They're not hooked together. But because this is one of the big things that Richard Dawkins came up with, or at least pushed forward a lot. And I think he really explained it in his book, The Selfish Gene. I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure that's where it gets discussed a lot.
1976,
but yeah, it's this idea of memes, and they're not what you think on the internet. This is pre that. This is like the late 90s. But essentially the meme is you have genes in genetics that get passed on. So advantageous genes get passed on to other people. But then they kind of came up with this idea of, in intelligent rational species, there's also these memes. So there's like these norms of behavior, of culture, of story that also propagate and spread. And so the better stories live, kind of like how the best genes live on, while the not as good ones die.
Yeah.
And so it's like a parallel to our genetics as another survival mechanism is these memes that spread throughout. Now, the problem is he didn't kind of do the logical conclusion and apply this to religion. Because if you're saying, oh, we're these memes, and just like the most advantageous genetic traits pass on throughout society, the most advantageous memes pass on throughout society. And obviously, in terms of memes, religion would have been like the most popular of all memes. The fact that there's a God, there's the fact that he cares for us, that he watches over us, that if you want to be cynical about it, that watches what we're doing and makes sure we're doing the right thing, or he punishes us. Regardless of if you think it's true or not true, at the very least, it's a concept that has spread throughout all of society. So from Richard Dawkins' perspective, this should be a good thing. Like, if it's so prevalent and has lasted for so long, that means it must be some sort of advantageous ideological genetics that we have that has helped us survive and perpetuate ourselves. But he didn't go there. And so he's kind of falling prey to his own knowledge because he refused to apply it in all circumstances. When he was stripping away religion, he didn't make another meme to replace it with.
Yeah.
He was just taking away. He didn't apply his own lessons. So of course there was going to be some sort of other narrative that came in.
Yeah.
Science was not going to fill that hole. And wokeism is filling that hole now. And now he's all, oh no, this is terrible, and my Facebook account is being deleted because I posted a scientific fact. It's like, yes, Richard Dawkins, because you didn't have a meme. That this other meme that you were tearing down that had perpetuated throughout all of human civilizations for all of time, you tried to tear that away.
Because you weren't smart enough to see this coming. Again, they're not smart. No, a smart person knows that I can't develop a new theory unless I've tested it from all angles. And it's not a better theory unless it is more complete and coherent. This is basic philosophy. This isn't your grandmother's wisdom. We're not talking about the tree in Pocahontas. We're talking about if you are going to present a dissertation in front of the academy, and you want a university to say yes to your master's degree, to say yes to your doctorate, then you better be able to stand there and have them poke holes in your theory. And it ain't a good theory. You ain't going to get your doctorate until you can actually defend your thesis. Well, you know what? My number one question, if I were in that doctorate board of trustees or whoever was testing his thesis, I would have said, what are you going to do 20 years from now when you've decimated Christianity and you've replaced it with Darwinism, and then somebody wants to come and live in your house and says, well, this is my house now. I the captain now. You going to call the police? You've defunded the police, bro. Like, what are you going to do?
Well, I think everybody can understand that we shouldn't hurt each other. And I don't think you need a religion or morals. A God to tell you something so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, based on what moral code, bro? Because that ain't the moral code of evolution.
Exactly.
You know, so he's stupid. Richard Dawkins is stupid. Christopher Hitchens is stupid. These people are not smart. They're just cynical. And we have so just drank that Kool-Aid that we actually call these people intelligent. And speaking of memes, I'm going to prove this. I do notice how, like, we always abuse this bell curve meme where there's like the big brain guy on one side, there's the Jedi on the other, and then there's the guy crying in the middle, you know? I actually suggest a variation on this meme. And here's my variation. I actually don't think that the big brain is on the right and that the small brain is on the left. I think the right and the left are the same. And this is my example. This is my analogy. This is my parable, dare I say, Luke, to try and describe what I'm thinking here. Okay. And this is what Einstein thought, by the way. Einstein agrees with me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The person on the left of the bell curve is, let's just say, the silly salesman of a priest that thinks everything in the Bible is right. Everything the Pope has ever said is correct. Everything the church does is just factual. And those are the apologists over here, right? Saying 100% pro-church, go. And then on the other side of the bell curve are the Richard Dawkins that say, no, everything pro-church, bad. No, religion, stupid. Religion, cause harm. Religion equal idiot. They're all over here. The person that's actually truly intelligent, okay, and is at the top of the bell curve is somebody who's figured out how to balance the two. This is why the ancient Jews would not allow a man to be a rabbi unless he actually had a wife and children, because they knew that justice and mercy could not be balanced best. Unless you basically had, like, the ones that knew how to balance justice and mercy best were parents, were fathers that could really apply both of those camps. So to me, the troglodyte priest that just has a knee-jerk reaction of religion perfect good is no different than Richard Dawkins, who just has a knee-jerk reaction of religion bad, but explained in really, really good ways that happen to sell in sound bites over the internet and make my publisher very happy because I make other midwits feel intelligent through my scoffery. They're not the real intelligent ones. The ones that are intelligent are the ones that balance the two and figure out what in the Bible could have been symbolism, but what actually, holy crap, could have been true. And dare I say, even miraculous. This is why Albert Einstein had so much respect for Eyring. And when asked by the reporter, said, what's it like to be the most intelligent man in the world? He said, I don't know, go ask Eyring, because he knew that there was that religious element, that contemplative element, that element you cannot actually start to explore the eternities until you understand them. And the fastest you can understand eternal thoughts are through religion first. So like there's no way in my mind you will ever sell me on this idea, and I don't want to sit here trying to sell me, but I do not drink the Kool-Aid that Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens are smarter. They're just the products of a society wealthy enough that it could afford to forget God for a while and go on autopilot. But now that autopilot has crashed into a mountain, and they're wondering, but we built this perfect autopilot, and I didn't know the Himalayas were there because only the poor religious people climb in mountains. I sit in the university library, but there's a mountain there and we've crashed. You know, that you're not smarter if you have no real world experience. Does my analogy hold water?
I'm just talking about IQ when I say that they're smart. That's all I mean.
Sure.
Yeah,
fine.
that's all I mean. And they're definitely very high IQ.
So, babe, were you impressed by Richard Dawkins?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool, fair enough. Well,
were you impressed by his accent?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, cool, awesome.
But
awesome.
I was more impressed by Cardin's accent. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. Thank you.
You're more like 1800s British snob guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hollywood.
but go back. Einstein knew. We're talking about Henry B. Eyring.
I think it's Eyring's grandfather was the renowned scientist that the Eyring Science Center is named after.
His dad, I
But
thought.
like it's the Henry B. Eyring family.
Yes. I think Henry B. Eyring's father or grandfather was a contemporary in the 20s and the 30s of Albert Einstein and a lot of the whole era of Schrodinger's cat, quantum mechanics, E equals MC squared, all of that kind of early 20th century theoretical physics that Oppenheimer basically harnessed in order to make the atom bomb. Henry B. Eyring, if I remember correctly, was part of that, and he's the person that the Eyring Science Center at BYU is named after, which does amazing work on behalf of, guess what? Science, because it's possible to have the two because one birthed the other. So anyway, yeah, anything else before we go? Anything that we missed? No?
Looks like his grandnephew is Henry B. Eyring. So it's Henry B. Eyring's great uncle was Carl Ferdinand Eyring.
Okay.
That just sounds like a smart person name.
1889 to 1951.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Awesome. Okay, well, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to know from our audience, do you actually think Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins are smart, or are they just cultural pop stars of the movement of spoiled children in the 80s and 90s who were just emotionally reacting, not intellectually reacting to the Christian right? I view the whole new atheism movement as just the temper tantrum of spoiled Gen Xers. I don't actually view it as anything credible. The original atheists, you want to feed me some Nietzsche? Okay, you can feed me some Nietzsche, and we'll argue the philosophy of atheism. But the new atheists, betas.
And that's actually what Richard and this is why I was interested to talk to Richard Bushman, the cooler Richard, about this, was because he was in high-ranking academia throughout this, not, wasn't that close to it, but he was sort of around it. And so check that interview out if you want to hear what he had to say about it. But it was essentially what you said, which was this idea of, okay, you've talked about the science a lot. People don't live in the science. When the deepest, most important parts of your life, when you look back on it, wasn't like, oh, that one day that I learned about Schrodinger's cat and I finally understood it. That's not, when you're on your deathbed, that's not going to be the things that were, this is what my life should have been focused on. It's more of that relationship, that family, who did I become as a person? And religion answers that way better than this new atheism thing that unfortunately ushered in this other religion that is now getting Richard Dawkins canceled off of Facebook for making the very factual claim that a boxer in the Olympics has XY chromosomes.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, for this and more, please check us out at WardRadio.com. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Before you go, please make sure that you like the video, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please let this be the video in which we earn your subscription and that you press the alert button so you're alerted to all of our fun live streams and standalone videos and community posts. Also, if you'd like to help us out, please consider joining the channel. Members get all kinds of cool perks and benefits. They get early access to a lot of our videos and special emoticons and emojis during our live streams and preferential treatment there. It's a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, we have a super cool Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, check us out on WardRadio.com. There's a link to the Discord there. Also, you can sign up there for our newsletter. Our newsletter is a lot of fun, and you can put your email address in there. And if you'd like to contribute to the program, please consider looking us up on Venmo or on the CashApp. We're on both of those platforms. Also, if you just want to keep watching more content, right about here and probably right about here are going to be some more videos. Please check those out. And as always, for this and more, please make sure that you look us up and check us out at WardRadio.com.